Last week's post-WrestleMania episode of Raw ended with a not-so-shocking betrayal by Brock Lesnar when he turned on Cody Rhodes prior to what was supposed to be the main event tag match between them and the duo of Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Tonight's show dealt with the fallout from that moment, in addition to laying the groundwork for what will take place at Backlash on May 6th. Tonight's show also included a women's tag team championship match with Lita and Becky Lynch defending the titles against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's show, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio. I'm joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We got the First Lady of Talking Wrestling TXN joining us as well, Dee Dee Woodson. We are awaiting perhaps the presence of the Phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness. A week ago, Monday Night Raw was an absolute dumpster fire. Worst Raw of the year, worst Raw ever was trending. This time around, a little better. I'll say that. Far better than what we saw a week ago. So let's dive on in. Monday Night Raw was live tonight from the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington, home of the now Stanley Cup playoff-bound Seattle Kraken. Release the Kraken. Yes. Second season, they're Stanley Cup playoff-bound. Awesome. Happy for them. Started off with an in-ring segment. It was the new Hall of Famer, Rey Mysterio. He came out, he cut a promo, and he was interrupted by Dominic Mysterio. And that led to Finn Balor showing up. And it got in and it led us to our first match of the night. Rey Mysterio, one-on-one with Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins the match 13 minutes and 45 seconds with help from Dominic Mysterio here. 2-for-1 segment here. Well, I'll say this. A solid promo to start. And even though this was a very solid match, we know both of these men are capable of producing match of the year candidates whenever they want. So it felt like they were severely holding back until the final couple of minutes, and it got better as it went along. The opening segment was more of the same of what we have been getting for months from Rey and Dom. It covered almost no new ground and didn't take the story in a new direction, other than teasing the idea of Bad Bunny being involved, which we already knew after recent events. Dom messed up how he said his first line and never quite seemed to recover. Finn Balor working a match about a week after having 14 staples put into his head from a ladder inside Hell in a Cell against Edge was nuts. Rey's sliding splash out of the ring is such a fun spot. But other than that, I'm still going to give it 3.5 stars for the effort because it was a very good match. One of the fights of the night for sure. And a so-so promo from Rey and Dom. But other than that, great matchup with Rey Mysterio and Finn Balor. That's a dream match anywhere. So 13:45, Rey wins it. So, or I should say Finn Balor wins it. So 3.5 stars. So MF, come on in. The promo may have been so-so, same old story, same old song and dance. But at the end of the day, Rey and Finn, dream match anywhere, and Finn Balor wins with help from Dom. 13 minutes, 45 seconds.
Yeah, 3.5 stars. You could tell that this show looked a lot more fluid, looked a lot more organized, and it didn't have its like what happened where there was the chaos. It felt like a traditional Monday Night Raw, and that's exactly what we needed. Stability. I think what we saw here tonight was exactly what it was. Very focused storyline. Yeah, it's what we've heard in the past with Dom and Rey. But the nuclear heat that Dom is getting from city to city to city. And you can tell he got rattled because of the fact of the booze. That is heat that I don't think, WWE kind of hoped for and prayed for, but for him to get booed this loud that it's affecting his storyline, that is like, well done. You've worked on your craft. You got in massively over as a heel that you're at X-Pac level go away heat. That is amazing. If you're Dominic as a heel, that's the best thing you want. To get that nuclear heat on you that bad that it's really that people despise you that bad, that's as good as you're going done. And the work that he's done to get to that heel heat has been amazing. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. As far as the fight goes, yeah, 3.5 stars. I thought it was really good, and nothing more to say. So Didi, it's all yours, my dear.
Yeah, I agree with the ratings. Definitely 3.5 stars. I mean, this was like a main event to even start off the show. It was that good. I mean, Finn working after the injuries. That they went at it, and you couldn't really tell that he was hurt that much because, I mean, they just knocked it out of the park. They worked very well off of each other. So not much more I'm going to add. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, and then we noticed something happened backstage. Lita was attacked out of nowhere, and because of that, Lita was not cleared to defend the women's tag team championships with Becky Lynch. In comes Trish Stratus, so we still have our tag team championship match with a little change. So now it's Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus defending the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Winners of the match in 15 minutes and 25 seconds. And new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They bring the Women's Tag Team Championships to the Blue brand, which I know Good Old MF is very happy about. And I'm sure MF's gonna, have some fun with that in just a moment. But as great as the moment was for Liv and Raquel, unfortunately, well, it was overshadowed because of the fact Trish Stratus turned on Becky Lynch, laid her out with a chick kick, and the long rumored program between Becky and Trish. We finally got the explosion here tonight. The rumor going around is that we will see Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch go one-on-one at SummerSlam at Ford Field in Detroit on Saturday night, August the 5th, which, oh, by the way, the tickets for that event go on sale this upcoming Friday. So Motor City, get ready. So, all right. So in a sense, it's almost like another 2-for-1 deal here. So MF, come on in. 15 minutes, 25 seconds. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are about to bring the Women's Tag Team Championships to Friday Night SmackDown on Fox, to your delight. And also on top of that, Trish turns on Becky after the match was over. But nonetheless, new champs, Monsoon. You know what that means.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things I got to do first, but let's go with the obvious. The thing to Lita, very unfortunate. I think we all could agree that stunk. It was quite a situation there, and you saw how Becky kind of accused, how she kind of went after and kind of accused Liv and Raquel for doing this. And you saw Liv, she's like, we would never do that. We would never do that. And quite frankly, I'm with the side of Raquel and Liv. They never would do such a thing like that. They don't want to take an unfair advantage. They kind of like me. I don't want to win it cheap. I don't want to win it that way. If I want you at your best. I want you at 100%. So that when I beat you 1, 2, 3, or make you submit, that I could say that I beat you fair and square, honor code through and through. Done. So what she said is, I got you. So Trish comes out, says, I got you. No problem. We can do this. Now, once the fight was over, it was still a solid 2.5 to 3. Solid match. 3 to 3.5. Solid matchup. Good moments. There was a couple of not so great moments, but she tried to go for the chick kick. She got rolled up. 1, 2, 3. Liv wins the title for her team. So yes, history was made. Unprecedented crowning. I know that's the thing that you were looking for, Florio. But now I get my fun. SmackDown wins. SmackDown wins. SmackDown wins. They got the women's tag team titles back to the Blue brand. We got it back. It's been about, I want to say, almost a year since we had those belts. Probably close to a year. But indeed, new champions. The belts come home. But remember, with the draft coming up, supposedly now, rumored, May 5, Monday Night Raw, Jacksonville, Florida, oddly enough, right in the backyard of AEW, this draft is supposed to be done. But anything can happen. So now the people are saying, well, that's great, but now eventually that means they're probably going to be losing it to Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. But here's the thing. We haven't heard anything about Ronda Rousey. We haven't heard anything from Shayna Baszler. We don't even know if they're still in WWE right now. Because especially the way Ronda's been yapping on social media, it sounds like she might be on her way out. So if that's the case, who does Shayna team up with? I don't know. We'll wait and see. One thing for sure, great moment for Liv and for Raquel. For Raquel, former NXT champion, first major championship on the main roster. And if you're Liv, you're already halfway there. You've practically have won 2 of the 3 belts. SmackDown Women's Champion, now WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. She's 1 belt away from the Triple Crown. She is a Raw Women's title away from the Triple Crown in WWE. And for Liv Morgan, that is remarkable for her to be, and think about it, she was, without a doubt, the most, I'll even openly admit it, at the time, she was the least talented member of the Riot Squad. I think if you talk about Riot Squad members, you would think maybe Ruby number 1. You would talk about the Viking wife, Sarah Logan number 2, and then you would probably put Liv at number 3. However, she was the eye candy of the group. Sorry, Didi. I think we all can admit that she was more eye candy than talent. But what Liv has done has now flipped the script more than anything else. From the least member of the Riot Squad, she has now become the most successful member of the Riot Squad. Sarah Logan has basically now been relegated to a manager and valet with the Viking Raiders, and with Ruby Riott, now Ruby Soho in AEW, she hasn't done anything. She has not even won a championship in AEW. Liv has gone on to win 2 championships already in her career. And the sky is rising for her. Not only that, but she's got a Money in the Bank. She was runner-up of the Royal Rumble match. So Liv Morgan has exceeded expectations beyond belief. And Raquel Rodriguez, Big Mommy Cool, I mean, my goodness. Strap the jetpack on her back. Started out very successful reign as NXT Women's Champion, going to the main roster, and now look at her. She had a shot at the SmackDown Women's title, lost, but valiant effort, great performance. But now she has now captured the women's tag team titles. Not bad for your first title win on the main roster. So, and to beat the likes of Trish Stratus, who's a Hall of Famer, Becky Lynch, the flag bearer of the women's division, the man herself. My God, what a night. So, yes, 3 to 3.5. Big moment for both these women and a bigger moment for them. And for me, as representing the Blue Brand, the SmackDown on Fox, the #1 television rated program on WWE. Yes, better than Raw, better than NXT. It is SmackDown, smacking the TV every Friday night on network, on Fox. And yeah, oh, by the way, for all you AEW marks, we're better than you guys too. You can go suck it for all I care. Dee Woodson, it's all yours, my dear.
Oh boy. What was your rating?
I said 3 to 3.5.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. This whole thing with Lita getting injured in the back, and then all of a sudden Trish jumping in saying she'll do it. Right then and there, I had red flags because, everybody knows that all over Twitter, all over social media, they've said that Trish was jealous because Lita and teamed up with Becky and got the titles, and she didn't have anything. And there she was at WrestleMania, the only one with no title. It makes me think now, especially since she turned on Becky at the end, maybe Trish was the one who took out her best friend. Maybe Trish did that so that she could get in there, cost them the titles, and then turn on Becky so that now we have the history of, Becky and Trish from a way back coming back now so that we can have that feud starting. It's a possibility, and it's crossed my mind quite a bit since that match aired. That this to me seems more obvious than Raquel and Liv. I definitely agree with Fletch on that. I don't think Raquel and Liv would have taken out Lita. They would want to have the legit match. Liv Morgan, I don't think she has a mean bone in her body to do something like that. And yeah, she's proven herself a lot since her days with Ruby and Sarah in the Riot Squad. So yeah, she's proven herself. She's brought herself up to that level that now she's competing, with the top dogs. So yeah, she's got herself there. As for the match, it was a very good match, very well done. And and the better team did win because, like I said, I think Trish secretly was out there to sabotage because she wanted, she would have rather been the one that had won that title to defend it with Becky than having her best friend do it. So I think there's a little bit of jealousy there and a little bit of payback from back then. So yeah, I'm going to agree with Fletch on the ratings, and I'm going to pass it to you, Florio.
3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star here. This match was far from perfect, but it definitely exceeded expectations. Not only did all 4 women put in some hard work, but Trish Stratus looked even more comfortable in the ring than she did at WrestleMania after having shaken off some of the ring rust. I agree with MF and Didi, the heel turn could be seen coming, but where it goes from here is what matters. It might lead to a singles match between Lynch and Stratus at Backlash, but we'll see. I heard SummerSlam, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. All right. Trish Stratus dragging Liv Morgan an extra foot to get her into position for Becky to do a leg drop from the top rope was kind of an awkward moment. The Hurricanrana from Trish in the corner looked pretty good there. And I think we can retire the Tower of Doom spot. It's been done to death more than the super kick. But other than that, great matchup here. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. And SmackDown now has possession of the Women's Tag Team Championship to the delight of MF. So we'll see where it leads. All right. And then from there, a lot of backstage stuff, some vignettes. And it leads into our next matchup. Bobby Lashley, one-on-one with Bronson Reed. Double count out. The match ends, and the fight ends in a double count out. 10.5 minutes. Didi Woodson, this feud far from over.
Yeah, it's definitely far from over. For ending in a no contest, it was a very good Be a Man fight with 2 big guys. 10 minutes of these 2 guys slapping each other and throwing each other around and all that stuff. So you could tell the crowd was definitely behind Lashley, but Bronson looked really good in the match as well. So, for them putting it as no contest, it shows me that they didn't want either one of them to take the fall right now. So this feud definitely is going to continue. Even though it was no contest, I'm still going to give it about 3 stars, just because of the fact that it was, a very good Be a Man fight. They did a great job with these 2 big guys. So I'm not going to say much more. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. Like Didi said, I mean, they immediately made this into a fight by backing each other into the corner for strikes right away. And the Almighty tried to get the big man up for a suplex, but Bronson Reed countered before he could even get his feet off the ground. It's definitely made that into a Be a Man fight. This was Big E's dream come true because it was just 2 big, meaty men slapping meat. This didn't need a bunch of wrist locks and technical sequences to be entertaining. This could be the start of a very fun feud. Bronson Reed is obviously known for his overall size, but he is also extremely strong, and you can tell that. Lifting up a guy the size of Lashley is no big deal for him. And Lashley's suplex was genuinely impressive because he made it look so much easier than it should have been. Match was too good to make this an NA. I know if Bullock were here, he'd be screaming for us to call this an NA, but I think we can waive the NA for this one. 3 to 3 1/4 stars. Definitely the correct rating for this one. So there isn't much more to say here. MF, Lashley, Bronson Reed, double count out. Feud must continue. And based on what we saw tonight, if this was the first act, this could be the start of a really fun Be a Man feud here.
Finally, Bronson Reed utilized correctly in WWE. Thank you, Triple H, for this. Bobby Lashley looked really good in his fight. Bronson Reed had his personal best performance in my eyes, and this was what it needed it to be. A hoss fight, a be a man fight, like you said, slapping meat, acknowledge meat on this one, because that's what I'm doing. I'm acknowledging the meat that came out of this one, because this was amazing. I loved it. It was if I was at the arena and this fight was happening, I would have had a really good time with this one, and I know the crowd did. Uh, it was amazing. There's really nothing more to say here. It was a 3-star fight. Yes, I am rating it, even though even though we easily could yell NA, but I'm going with the 3 stars as well. And Florio, back to you.
All right. Next up, we had another in-ring segment. It was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Came out to give a promo about how he lost at WrestleMania. He apologized, but he also gave an impassioned speech about how this is just a bump in the road. Then he moved on to talking about Brock Lesnar. He admitted he was scared of the Beast, but he still wants to fight him. It was an uninterrupted promo, and the American Nightmare did a great job carrying it by himself. This feud is not what most people hoped Cody would be doing after Mania, but it's what we have, and he made it as interesting as possible with just a couple of minutes here. And apparently there was a rubber chicken in the ring somewhere during WrestleMania, and Cody acknowledging that was just hilarious. But anyways, I'll sum it up by saying, for me, I would say this was probably the segment of the night here. He delivered another strong promo, and I loved the way that he told the fans to blame him for losing at WrestleMania rather than complain about the way he lost. And I know this Brock Lesnar thing may not be for everybody, but you remember, what did Papa H say after the press at that WrestleMania press conference? What did he say? That was just a chapter. We're on to the next chapter. And the next chapter, obviously, is Brock Lesnar. So yeah. I would say by default, this was the segment of the night, and Cody ended it by issuing the challenge to Brock Lesnar for a match at Backlash in San Juan, Puerto Rico. MF, I don't know about you, but I think we found our main event for Backlash in Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, and especially now that we don't have because now that we don't have everything going on, especially heading into, it looks like we will not have Roman Reigns in Puerto Rico. So yeah, this is the perfect main event matchup for WrestleMania. I cannot wait. I think it's going to be amazing. Cody Rhodes he can take anything and make it compelling. He can take anything, take any pile of garbage, find a diamond, and make it absolutely amazing. At the end of the day, this was what it exactly needed it to be. He talked about the WrestleMania loss. We all are still a lot of us are still a little PO'd over what happened at Mania. And quite frankly, I don't think a lot of us is going to get over what happened at WrestleMania. A lot of us is not going to get over what happened at WrestleMania. But I will say this. This is going to be amazing. This was set it up nicely. It was very brilliant. And there's really nothing more to add. So, yeah. Cody did an amazing job. But then again, Cody is not a sports entertainer. He's a professional wrestler. He does the promos by the hip with the fire, the intensity, and the passion that we know he can do. He has come leaps and bounds as one of the best talkers in wrestling today. And without a doubt, he can make anything work. Even though we may not want Brock versus Cody, but like I said, I think there's a working theory in my mind. One, it starts with him beating Brock Lesnar. Two, winning the Money in the Bank at the O2 in London. And then three, he finally is the one to topple the mountain and beat Roman Reigns at Ford Field in Detroit. I think that is the quote-unquote the hat trick that's going to lead us to Cody finally breaking the record, stopping Roman, and becoming the undisputed, well, possibly with the belts maybe split, but becoming the WWE champion, the one belt that he has been waiting for his entire career. Nothing more to say, so Didi, it's yours.
Well, before we get to Didi, let's catch Michael Bullock up because Bullock's here. So let's.
Welcome to the party, Bullock. I didn't even see you.
Yeah, he just came in a short time ago. So, and by the way, before I give it to Bullock, to catch him up, I mean, did any of you guys see that Dusty Rhodes biography on A&E last night? Unbelievable.
Probably one of the best biographies, probably in the couple of years that WWE have been doing biographies for A&E. I think that was kind of one of the best ones.
They've all been great, but that one especially was wow, great. Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get you caught up here, and let's we started it off. There was an in-ring segment with Rey Mysterio that was interrupted by Dominic, and then Finn Balor came out, and it led to a match. Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor winning the match 13 minutes and 45 seconds due to Dominic interference.
Yeah, what else would you expect, Florio? I mean, because the fact is, Dominic still can't get over the fact that he lost to his father at WrestleMania, and he's willing to do anything to make sure that he continues to make his father's life a living hell, even though Rey got the best of him at WrestleMania. So, yeah, the outcome, unfortunately, was never in doubt. I mean, you knew Dominic was going to make sure Finn Balor goes over here, so I'm going to give this about 3.25. I could give it 3.5, but the interference at the end, I think, took a little bit away from it.
All right. Moving on, we had Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus after Lita was taken out. Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus defending the Women's Tag Team Championship against Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, new Women's Tag Team Champions. They win the titles, defeating Becky and Trish in 15 minutes and 25 seconds. And then after
Florio, the big story out of this.
Yep, but after the match, I was about to get to it. But after the match was over, Trish Stratus turned on Becky Lynch, setting up that long-rumored Becky and Trish match for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, we knew this was going to happen eventually. I mean, I guess they just wanted to give it about maybe a couple of weeks before they finally pulled the trigger on this. And yeah, and what was the time, Florio?
That was 15 minutes and 25 seconds.
All right. I mean, I'll give this about maybe a 3.5 on this one. I mean, I thought this was a solid match here, but yeah, I mean, the heel turn is complete. And gee, Florio, I wonder who took out Lita.
Had to be Trish.
Yeah, besties. Let's just say not anymore. I think Trish is going back to that heel route when she, let's just say, her and Lita were not besties at the time. So this is definitely setting up for a potential Trish versus Becky, which we've heard all about. And I think you're going to start to see the slow build towards this match, which I think is going to happen at SummerSlam.
That's long been the rumor, but we'll see what happens. Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed. It ends in a double count out in 10.5 minutes.
Man, this was so good. Did you guys give it a rating?
Yes, we did. We gave it between 3 and 3.25.
Wow. I got to give it 3.25. Normally, I would give it an NA on a disqualification. Or especially on a double count out, but I can't hear. This was so good here. So 3.25. It's yours.
And then we have one more thing. The thing that we were getting into, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes cutting a promo, talking about WrestleMania and then what happened with Brock Lesnar last week, and then he issued the challenge. Me and you, Brock Lesnar, 1-on-1 at Backlash. We got our main event.
Yeah, I think that's our main event. It's definitely going to be the main event of Backlash since, like you said, Roman Reigns is not scheduled for Backlash. And yeah, I know there's some people here who do not want to see it, but I think for Cody Rhodes to get back to the top, to get back to Roman Reigns, he has to start somewhere. And if it means having to go through Brock Lesnar, that will be the first step towards getting back to where we hope where he will eventually be.
All right. So if you're all set, give it off to Dee Dee Woodson for her thoughts.
Yeah, Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours.
I don't even know where we're at.
The Cody Rhodes promo.
Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Cody Rhodes talking about.
Yeah. That was definitely the promo of the night. Cody knocked it out of the park, but of course we all know Cody's one of the best speakers out there when it comes to that. So really, I have nothing more to say about it. You guys pretty much nailed it on the head. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. And we move on to the Usos squaring off against the Alpha Academy. The Usos win the match 13 minutes and 5 seconds. MF, all I can say is a get-right win for the Usos here after their demoralizing loss at WrestleMania, ending their historic 622-day reign as the tag team champions when they lost the titles to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in the most emotionally charged WrestleMania moment in some time. But nonetheless, MF, come on in. Usos defeating the Alpha Academy, 13 minutes, 5 seconds. What a match. What a match indeed. So, all right. I don't know if MF stepped away or anything. He may have. I don't know. So I guess I'll give it off to Bullock here. I don't know where. Oh, wait, there's MF. All right, we got him. All right, MF. The Usos versus the Alpha Academy. The Usos win the match, 13 minutes and 5 seconds. And oh boy, the Usos. Oh boy, they took the Alpha Academy a little bit too lightly, but nonetheless, a get-right win, a much-needed get-right win for the Usos after that demoralizing loss at WrestleMania.
Yeah, like you said, get-right win, a 3.25, 3.5 star battle. Solid, good match, good battle. I enjoyed it. I don't mind the storyline. I thought they did a really good job with it, and there's really nothing more to add here. So, yeah, great wrestling, great action, and nothing more to add there. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3.25, 3.5 as well. Another solid match here. yeah, I mean, I think the Usos basically took the Alpha Academy too lightly, and they got a lot more than what they could handle. So there's nothing more to say. It's yours, Dee Dee Woodson.
I pretty much agree. So it's yours, Florio.
The action was good, but they had a somewhat slow start. They took their time before getting to the sequences that required a quicker pace, so it gave both teams plenty of chances to taunt and interact with the crowd. It was almost like a video game, which is kind of funny since the new WWE game just came out. It felt like this match, while competitive, was designed to give the Usos a chance to look like one of the most dominant tag teams again. Otis had a good run after a hot tag, but the Usos came out on top after hitting Chad Gable with the 1D. Otis is probably the best physical comedian in all of WWE. Even the little things he was doing during his entrance were hilarious. Chad Gable was trying to get Otis to forget about his hopes of modeling. Is something that, we never thought we would see, but here we are. And the crowd loves Otis. It's easy to remember why WWE thought he was worth the money in the bank in 2020, 3 years ago. So 3.5 stars is my rating for it. So because of the great action down the stretch. So big win for the Usos. They needed that get right win. All right, triple threat match. Yeah, we were supposed to see 2 of these last week, but McMagma obviously kiboshed them both. But all we needed was one. This is just one triple threat match. The winner of this triple threat match would become the number 1 contender to Bianca Belair and the Raw Women's Championship. Now, Bayley was originally scheduled to be in this match, but Io Sky showed displeasure. And Bayley's like, all right, I'll talk to Adam Pearce and we'll see if we can get you in the match. Well, it worked because now it ended up being Io Sky versus Piper Niven versus Michin. And the winner of the match in 8 minutes and 15 seconds and the new number 1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship, Io Sky. Michael Bullock, how about it? Io Sky, the new number 1 contender. Down the road, she will challenge Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. Maybe in Puerto Rico. Who knows? But Io Sky wins the match 8 minutes and 15 seconds.
I'll give this about 2.5 stars. But yeah, I mean, Io Sky, I mean, what can you say? She's going to get a future shot at the Raw Women's title. And I don't know if her and Bianca ever face each other in NXT, but when they do face each other, you're expecting something good out of this. And I think the earliest possible date for these two to face each other, I think, will be Backlash. So 2.5 stars is my rating. It's yours, Florio.
Just to actually help Bullock, just to let you know, this is actually a first time encounter. Io Sky Io Sky and Bianca Belair has never faced off for the Raw Women's title. So this is actually a first time battle.
Well, thank you for that, Fletch. So
yep.
Yeah, so what better way for the first time than at Backlash, which is the way I see it. So it's yours, Florio.
Dee Dee Woodson, you mean?
Dee Dee Woodson, I'm sorry. So it's yours, Dee Dee. So what do you think? First time ever match between Io Sky and Bianca Belair? I definitely see it happening at Backlash. What says you?
Yeah, I think it could happen at Backlash. And, it's about freaking time that Bayley takes a step back and lets the other two have a moment. And that everybody has criticized Bayley because she's used these two all the time for her wins, and now we finally got to have Io go out there and prove herself her way without them interfering in her match. So I'm got nothing more to say. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. All right. By default, this was the worst fight of the night, even though there was nothing remotely bad about it. it just had the shortest time out of all the matches tonight. And the shortest match of this week was 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Last week, the shortest match was like less than a minute. This week, the shortest match on the show was 8 minutes and 15 seconds. That's very refreshing. This had some great spots sprinkled throughout it, but there wasn't much more to it than that. It is nice to see Io Sky get a semi-high profile win, so that's the upside to this whole thing. Michin, Mia Yim has always been an underrated performer. She can do so many things well. If WWE had a secondary singles title for the women's division, Piper Niven would have it right now. She's not quite ready for the main event scene, but she is really good and deserves to be on TV more often. And the running kick Mia Yim used to break up a pin by Io Sky looked great. But when it comes to these three, I think they got the outcome right. Io is the most deserving. And a match between Io Sky and Bianca Belair could give Charlotte and Rhea a run for its money for Women's Match of the Year in 2023 so far. So will it be a 5-star like Charlotte and Rhea was at Mania? I don't know. But, only time will tell. So, not much more to say here. 2.5, 2 3/4. By default, the worst fight of the night, even though it was not remotely that bad. It was not a dud or a dud enhancement or any of that nonsense from last week. So, not much more to say. MF, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Raw Women's Championship. What a matchup that's going to be, huh?
Yeah, and actually, I do need to make a little bit of a confession. So, yes, this is the first time that Io and Bianca will be fighting for the Raw Women's title, but this is not the first time that these two women are going to face off. They actually faced off 6 months ago. It was September 26, 2022 on Monday Night Raw, and that was right. It was kind of right after SummerSlam, where Damage Control just had established, and then you also had, at the time, Asuka, Bianca Belair, and Alexa Bliss. They were working together. So this actually kind of was the first little nuggets that led us to War Games, if you guys remember that. So they had a match. It was Io versus Bianca, where I believe Bianca won that match. But now this is actually a first-time matchup where the Raw Women's title is in play. So we've never had that happen before. So it is a fresh matchup, and I can't wait to see it happen. As far as the match goes, yeah, unfortunately, it is worst fight of the night, but it does not deserve worst fight. There was actually nothing bad about the fight. That's the thing. This is one of those matches where by default it is because of the length of time, but it was not a bad fight at all. It's a 2.5-star match. Florio, it's yours.
Okay. Set some things up here. All right. The only thing that's been announced for next week, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar will be in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Little Rock, Arkansas. That's where Raw's going to be next week, and Brock Lesnar will be there. And this will more than likely set up the big match with Cody Rhodes for Backlash. They'll probably make it official. Main event of the evening, and it's the same main event that myself, MF, and Bullock saw last month in Providence when we went to Monday Night Raw. The only difference was that match was a street fight. This time around, it was a regular wrestling match. Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa wins the match in 13 minutes and 35 seconds. All hell breaks loose after the match. The Usos and Solo were beating down on Kevin Owens. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle. And Dede Woodson, judging by the looks of this, I think we have our secondary main event for Backlash in Puerto Rico. Usos and Solo against Sami, KO, and Riddle.
Yes, I can agree with that. I mean, all night long we were told that um, Sami Zayn and Riddle were not even there because of the flight delay things they kept bringing up. But then here they popped out at the end to save the day and help Kevin Owens. So I mean that was really really good there at the end. As far as the match goes, yeah, it was a great main event for a really tight knit show. Kevin Owens sold the leg. Solo attacking it made a lot of sense because you're trying to target the injury. They did a great job. Yeah, we still had the shenanigans with the twins popping in trying to help out Solo, but in the end, I'm going to give it probably 3.5 stars. Definitely the the ending post match was a big hit just because of the fact that you did have help come out for KO and actually scared off the 3 members of the bloodline. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
Another 3.5-star match. These two have had multiple chances to work together in recent months, so they lost that awkwardness that comes from facing a new opponent a long time ago. At this point, these guys know each other well. The more two wrestlers work together, the better their performances usually become. They learn each other's strengths and patterns, so each time they do them, they look just a little bit better. They had a long time to work, and they packed a lot into the minutes they were given, so it would be hard to recap everything. This was a very good match and definitely worth taking the time to watch, but it was also a little on the predictable side. The Usos were at ringside, and Sami Zayn was unable to be at the show, so KO had the odds stacked against him before he even got to the ring. After Sikoa got the cheap win with some interference from his brothers, Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle ran into the arena and to the ring to make the save. Solo Sikoa has that kind of power that is very explosive. It's hard to put it in any other way. Maybe it's because he moves quicker than most guys his size. Owens sold the running hip strike. He was hit by a dump truck, which is ironic. Or Owens sold the running hip strike like he was hit by a dump truck, which is ironic if you really think about it. And Sikoa is already really good at laying in his strikes in a believable way without hurting his opponents. It's not something everyone can do, even in WWE. Another 3.5-star, teetering on 3.75-star match. Great main event to close it out. So there isn't much more to say here. MF, Solo, and the Usos against Sami, KO, and Riddle. It's looking like it.
Yeah, it is definitely. It looks like this could be a hell of a 6-man tag. You could call this maybe co-fight of the co-main event. Maybe the main event before Brock versus Cody, or this could be a precursor. We don't know, but one thing is for sure, this is going to be a great matchup. This is a great storyline. Really nothing more to add there. So yeah, it's amazing. It's awesome. So it was a 3.5-star fight. Again, one of the fights of the evening. Nothing more to say. Did Bullet go, or is it back to you, Florio?
I didn't go yet.
All right, then it's yours, Mike.
Yeah, 3.5 stars. I mean, what can you say? Another solid match when it comes to these two. But yeah, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Riddle against the Usos and Solo Sikoa. I definitely see that going down at Backlash as well. So there's really nothing more to add to it. So it's time to get into our overall thoughts.
Spoiler alert, it ain't going to be like what it was last week. I'll tell you that right now. A week ago was an absolute disaster, an absolute train wreck, the most disappointing show of the year. Let me tell you, tonight was not a Vince McMagma show. That was a Papa H show. Much better episode than last week's show. Obviously, Mr. McMagma stayed out of the weeds this week. Good. Let's keep it that way. He doesn't belong anywhere near that anymore. And 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I mean, every match was solid to good to great. You had some good. You had the continuation of the Judgment Day and the LWO. Obviously, Cody with a fantastic promo. Great promo to set up the match with Lesnar for Backlash, and all the matches were solid to good to great. And if your worst fight of the night is 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star, you know you're doing something right. So major step up from that dumpster fire we saw a week ago. So it's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. So MF, you tell me, was that a Papa H show or was that a McMagma show to you tonight?
I think the last two shows straight up were both Papa H's. You know, we could talk about what happened on SmackDown, and we felt like Triple H definitely had his hands on it more than anything else. And now here we are again, and we're talking same thing. Hunter having his hands on this one tonight. We do know that Vince was not in Seattle at all, so we knew he wasn't there. And even some of the articles that are coming out is saying that it now Endeavor is coming out and saying that Vince should take a step back and let Hunter run creative, because I think what had happened was that I think they wanted to see how Vince was going to run, and once they realized, that was not good, all right, Hunter, let's see what you do. And I think the grand scheme of things is that, remember, the majority of the company is now in Endeavor. It's no longer WWE control. As a matter of fact, McMahon only has about maybe 20% of stock, and his is a minority share now. You got some other guy that's calling the shots for WWE now. Once the merger of UFC and WWE combine together, and once we get that all said and done and everything else, which takes about 4 to 6 weeks, but the mergers, once that's all set, McMahon will have very little power. And the people from Endeavor was like, yeah, we heard what happened about the bad reviews. We saw what happened. We know it was a train wreck. We got you. We heard you, folks. We heard you loud and clear. Trust me, that will not happen again. And sure enough, you see the proof in the pudding. If I'm Endeavor, you keep Vince on to keep him doing the day-by-day business of WWE. You tell him you do the business side, you work on the TV deals, you work on the financials, because that's how you do it. You're going to be fine there. But as far as the business side of it, meaning the wrestling, the creative, everything else, we got a good support system right now. Let Hunter or Paul be the guy to run, and let them do what they need to do. This is why Triple H was saying about the draft, that it's going to change the game. Because I've heard some rumors of some big names coming to WWE. Now, I heard this rumor about, there's a freeze. No. All that freeze is basically, right now, the freeze that's happening is because there's going to be some guys that are probably going to get let go. But not from the wrestlers' standpoint, but more from the upper offices. So your producers, your agents, your corporate people, those are probably going to be the guys that are going to be on the chopping block more than the wrestlers or the talent or anything like that. You're probably going to lose some guys from the ring crew. You're probably going to lose guys from camera. You're probably going to lose some guys from production. So you got that. That's where the main line is going to happen. And on top of that, not only is WWE going to be affected by that, the UFC is going to be affected by that because they're going to go through a restructure in their world. That also means you're going to lose guys from production. You're going to lose, the guys who normally do a lot of the stuff for UFC. They're going to get affected by this too. By doing a merger, you're going to have people that's going to get left out in the cold here. So that's just the way it's going to be. Business, you know what? When you're doing a business deal like this and you're bringing two major big entities like UFC and WWE together, there are going to be casualties, unfortunately. That's part of life. That's part of business. I wish these people nothing but the best who do get let go. Hopefully that they'll find something, in the entertainment business that will get them back on their feet very, very quick, very, very fast. So at the end of the day, after what happened last week to tonight is apples and oranges. They're totally different shows. One show was ran by McMahon. We all saw how that turned out. This one was run by Triple H. It's already better. Now, if McMahon wants to do the thing remotely, all right, fine. Give him that. Let him, work a little thing remotely. If he wants to do remote, then that's fine. He wants to put his ear, say, hey, I think you should do this instead of that. This and that. Hey, Hunter, maybe we could go this route instead of that route. I'm fine with it. As long as he doesn't stick his nose where it doesn't belong in the final process of creative. That job is for Paul Levesque. That job is for Bruce Pritchard. And yes, by the way, Bruce Pritchard is part of that creative team with Triple H. So let that be for what it's meant. I believe this is the right way to go. This is the right direction that they're going. And I am now a lot more comfortable with WWE than I was about a week ago tonight. 1 week ago, we were very concerned about the future of WWE and where the direction was going. After what we saw on Friday night and what we've seen again here tonight, it seems like now they got their ducks in a row. There is no drama. Maybe they wanted to see how McMahon was going to run it creatively. We saw the disaster and Endeavor's like, okay, nope, we cannot do that. We cannot have this negativity. We need to go in a different direction because that we cannot have this. This product here needs to be within the realm of UFC. Because I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert, on Thursday night, we had a great event for UFC 287 that I cannot wait to tell you guys about on a TXN Sports World this Thursday night. I'm leaving that as is. So until then, 8 out of 10, Bullock, go.
Bullock, are you there? Oh, we think we may have lost him for the moment. So Didi Whitson, we'll just give it to you here. All right, we got Bullock. Okay, we got him.
Yeah,
all right, Bullock,
I'll give
overall thoughts on Raw tonight. Far better than that dumpster fire last week.
Oh yeah, this was 10 times better than that dumpster fire we had last week. With all the things we heard, I think Endeavor was probably not happy about the way McMahon ran things. And then when they saw what Triple H did on SmackDown, I think that, like you said, this is a Triple H show. And when you have a match, a worst fight of the night being 2.5 stars, you know you're doing something good. So hopefully this is the start of the turnaround to back where we were when Triple H was running things. So if this is more of what we're going to see, I'm really liking where they're heading. So we'll see what happens. So 8 out of 10. D.D. Woodson, all I can say is this show was 10 times better than that dumpster fire last week.
I agree with that. It was a lot better than last week. Yeah, it was definitely 8 out of 10. There's not really a bad thing that you really can say about the show. I mean, everything was either storyline driven in some way or was made relevant in some way, shape, or form. The matches were all, pretty much, spot on. Nothing negative about them except for maybe the, having a count out for one, or the guys jumping in to interfere. Other, like I said, there wasn't really a whole lot bad about it. So I've got nothing more to say. So good night, guys. Hopefully, I'll see you later this week.
All right, Dee. Good night, and we'll see you soon. So with that, change of plans for my Tony Steak this week. I was gonna go back to the old stuff with Impact Wrestling and Level Up, but it just hit me. Impact Wrestling has a major pay-per-view event coming up this upcoming Sunday night. So we're gonna get into that here tonight. Another special edition of the Tony's Take, and I'll have a recap of this show next week. Impact Wrestling presents Rebellion, and Rebellion will be live this Sunday night from the Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, on pay-per-view. It'll also be on Fight TV, and I'm almost certain it'll be on YouTube with those Ultimate Insiders. So it's an 8-match card. We're going to go bottom to top, and I'm going to set the table for you right here and right now. PCO versus Eddie Edwards in a last rights match. We have not seen a last rights match, and I can't even remember the last time. It's probably Sting and Abyss from one of those early TNA pay-per-views, right around 2006 or so. I mean, wow. The last rights match is an Impact Wrestling variation where a casket is lowered into the center of the ring, and the objective is to get your opponent into the casket, which is raised to the ceiling following the match. The first last rights match was done between Sting and Abyss. Vince Russo came up with this match. The match was perceived to be a disaster because neither wrestler could work properly due to the placement of the casket in the center of the ring, which limited and obstructed their workspace. The match went over so badly that during the match, the enraged crowd screamed "Fire Russo" so loudly that the commentators had to yell into their microphones to be heard. But 2023, they're bringing it back, but modified it to be more of a basic casket match. So just wanted to explain that. So PCO, Eddie Edwards, last rights match. Whoa. And MF, if you want to join in on any of these, feel free. So yeah, that's the first match. PCO versus Eddie Edwards, last rights match. 6-man tag team match. We got the Design. Diener, Angels, and either Callahan or Khan squaring off against Dirty Dango, the digital media champion Joe Henry, and wrestling his first match in about 9 years, I believe. Santino Marella coming out of retirement. He's going to wrestle for the first time in years. So it'd be interesting to see if there's any ring rust on him. The Design versus Dirty Dango, Joe Henry, and Santino Marella, 6-man tag. By the way, I'm going with Eddie Edwards to win that last rights match, considering that his wife just joined him, Alicia. So I think she could be the difference maker. So we'll see what happens there. I got a feeling I think the design might go over in that 6-man, but we'll see. Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships on the line. The champions, the Coven, Kylan King and Taylor Wilde squaring off against the Death Dolls, Jessica, Havoc, and Rosemary. Got to go with the Coven here. I think they retained their titles. They just won them recently, so I think it'd be a little too soon to take it off them. MF, you're gonna love this next matchup. This was made official this past Thursday night on Impact Wrestling. Ace Austin and Chris Bay will defend the Impact World Tag Team Championship against the Motor City Machine Guns in an Ultimate X match. Whoa. Oh, boy. Yep, that's right. Ace Austin, Chris Bay versus the Motor City Machine Guns, Ultimate X match for the World Tag Team Championship. That's your show stealer right there. But then again, this could be a show stealer. Well, as far as the Ultimate X goes, I mean, that's a tough one to call. That could go either way, but I got a feeling Austin and Bay are going to hold on to him, but we'll see. 3-way elimination match. Usually triple threat matches are usually one fall, but this is a rare triple threat elimination match for the Impact X Division Championship. The champion Trey Miguel defending against Jonathan Gresham and Speedball Mike Bailey. This is the toughest one to call right here. Right now I'm leaning to, I don't know why, but I'm leaning towards Gresham right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if they put the belt back on Speedball. So we'll see what happens there. A 10-wrestler hardcore war match upcoming here. Team Tommy Dreamer versus Team Bully Ray. For Team Tommy Dreamer, it's Tommy Dreamer, Frankie Kazarian, Yuya Uemura, Bhupinder Gujar, and Killer Kelly. Yes, it's not a 10-man hardcore war. No, this is a 10-wrestler. Each team will be comprised of 4 men and 1 woman. You got Tommy Dreamer, Frankie Kazarian, Yuya Uemura, Bhupinder Gujar, and Killer Kelly. And Team Bully Ray, you got Bully Ray, the Good Hands, Jason Hotch and John Schuyler, along with Kenny King and Masha Slamovich. Hardcore war. That's an MF special right there. And anybody who loves hardcore wrestling like MF does, like getting back to the original ECW, that's going to be for you. Knockouts Championship, it depends on Mickie James' status. We'll find out that status Thursday night on Impact Wrestling. If Mickie James is cleared to compete, it'll be a 3-way match with Mickie James squaring off against both Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo. If Mickie James cannot compete, she vacates the title, and Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo will go one-on-one for the Knockouts Championship. If Mickie is cleared, Mickie retains. If she can't go, I got to go with Grace to get the belt back. And then the main event of the evening for the vacant Impact World Heavyweight Championship, it's going to be Kushida squaring off against Steve Maclin. It was originally scheduled to be Josh Alexander against Steve Maclin. But you know what happened? Josh Alexander suffered an injury that required surgery. And because of that, he had to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship. He did that on the last Impact Thursday night. And a very heated segment, to say the very least. Kushida stood tall. And it's because of that, I got to say Steve Maclin is going to be the next Impact World Heavyweight Champion. I had Maclin beating Alexander anyway. Because I think Alexander, he surpassed Bobby Roode's run as the longest world champion of all time, held it for almost a year. And it sucks what happened to him. He is the heart and soul of that company. He is far and away their best wrestler. And I wish him all the absolute best. And I'm praying for a speedy recovery for the Walking Weapon. MF?
Yeah, and I have to say that this was one of the most highly anticipated things coming from Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, I was even caught up in the moment to see Josh Alexander was about to give the belt, and his little son grabbing the world title, like not wanting to let that go, and it like brought it back. You could see the wife in tears. You see Josh Alexander kind of like, hey, look, I know what you were trying to do, but no, you can't. I know, little buddy, I know. And it was like, even me, like, I can't really blame the kid. And I'm like, because even me, I was like, I know, I get it. That was a heart-wrenching moment for him to take the belt and to surrender it. It meant everything. And the thing is, I gotta say it, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they're doing it, but give the props to Impact Wrestling, man, because this was amazing storytelling from them. And I mean, we don't talk about Impact Wrestling and storytelling and anything like that because it's always been negative. Always been negative.
Very true.
This has to be one of the best things that they've done in, God, maybe 5 years, probably more.
Positively.
I mean, it's been a long time since we said something really good about Impact Wrestling. And I totally agree with you. I do believe Steve Maclin will become the champion, but I think the minute Josh Alexander gets back, I think Alexander takes the belt from Maclin.
Very, very possible. It'll just depend. But how you overheard all the matches I mentioned about this card? How's it look to you?
I think overall, I think it sets up to be a pretty good event. I really got nothing more to say about it. I think it's going to be a very good event. I definitely agree with that.
I mean,
more than anything else.
I mean, Ultimate X for the tag titles.
Yeah.
Yowza. That's going to be more for me. You being the because we all know how you followed the old ECW religiously back in the day. I mean, Dreamer and Bully in that hardcore war. That's your specialty right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I know you're going to be all over that.
Yep.
But yes, this looks like a very good card from top to bottom. A last rights match with PCO and Eddie Edwards. I mean, wow. Yep. Look, this looks like a great card. We got 5 championship matches, a hardcore war, a last rights match, a 6-man tag. Santino Marella coming out of retirement, wrestling his first match in 9 years. It'll be very interesting to see if Santino has any ring rust. That's all I can say.
That's the one thing I would be a little concerned about myself is the ring rust.
Yep. But we'll see what happens. So that'll be Sunday night, and I will have a recap of that show next week here on Ridiculously Raw. And then the week after that, then I will finally get back to the bread and butter of my Tony's Take, which has been the reviews of Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. I know you've been waiting for them, but these special events, you know, they just keep piling one after another. So we got to address those first. So, but we'll get into that next week. So that's it. That'll put the bow on this latest edition of Ridiculously Raw. I want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. MF, same time for the shows this week, I'm sure?
Yes.
Okay. Always want to be sure on that. All right. Well, we will be back with you Wednesday night over on MF's channel, Racefan 95, Wednesday Night Madness. We got NXT and we got AEW Dynamite. Thursday, we got a loaded edition of TXN Sports World. Much more loaded than last week. Last week was a so-so show. This time around, we got a lot of meat. Odell Beckham Jr. has a new team. Finally has a new team. We'll let you know where he landed. On top of that, we will get into the next week of the XFL. I believe this is week number 9 of the XFL. We'll also get into week 1 of the USFL. The USFL starts their season this weekend. We'll get into that. And then MF will recap UFC 287. And then from there, in our main event, it will be all about the NBA playoffs. The NBA playoffs will preview all the series and for the first round, and that'll be on Thursday. And then Friday night, 11 p.m. over on MX Channel, Braceman 95, Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and there you go. So until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, it's Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and the First Lady of this show, the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube, on StreamYard.com. And as we always say, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.